Okay.
Everyone, thank you for joining us today. We have with us John Luke Sapp with Sky Valley Zip Tours, and I will send it over to him and let him tell you about his company.
Cool beans. Hey, everybody. Like Sarah said, I'm John Luke Sapp. I'm the manager here at Sky Valley Zip Tours. A little bit about myself before I kind of go into the presentation. I've been here at Sky Valley for the past 6 years. First two, I started out as just a part-time guide working here, and then kind of fell in love with the area and the job, and decided to stay. And the owner hasn't got rid of me yet, so I might be doing something right. I am a graduate from Appalachian State, graduated with a degree in health and PE, but didn't really fall into teaching PE, and this kind of has a little bit of best working with the kids and whatnot and getting to be outside. So that's a little bit about myself, but I'll kind of jump right into sharing the PowerPoint that I made about the company. 1 second, if it will work. Awesome, awesome. I hope everybody can see the PowerPoint screen with just Sky Valley on it now. If not, just somebody let me know and I'll try to fix it.
We can see it. It's perfect.
Cool beans. Awesome. So like we said, we're Sky Valley Zip Tours. We are a zipline company located in between Boone and Blowing Rock. We're about 15 minutes away from downtown at each one. And I like to think of it as kind of escape from the city without having to go too far. A lot of people do get lost on the run road to get here, and it's kind of like you're not in Blowing Rock or Boone once you get onto our property. So a little history about Sky Valley. We opened up our doors as Sky Valley Zip Tours in 2012, and for the past 5 years, we have been voted Traveler's Best for ziplining by TripAdvisor. When we originally opened up as a ziplining company, we had 9 lines. And we eventually added a 10th line about 4 years ago. With that 10th line added, we now have a total of about a mile of cable for the adult course, with our highest line being 300 feet in the air and being 1,600 feet long. And the other 9 kind of range pretty close to being a little shorter than that. We also have a kids course on property too that opened up in 2015, a little after we opened up the original course. Before we were a zipline company, we were actually known as Camp Sky Ranch, and that camp was opened by the current owner, Jack Sharp's grandfather, back in 1946, and it was a camp for children in the area with special needs. And it was a stay-away camp. Eventually, we ended up stopped doing that when Jack's grandfather passed away, handed it over to his son, and Jack right now is still carrying on the tradition with the camp. We hold a week-long day camp for children and people of all ages with special needs, and we call that iCamp. And from experience, that's one of the most fun weeks of the whole season is that camp. Let's see, that's a little bit of the history. So what do we do now? Well, we are a family-owned zipline company. Like I said, we have a zipline course for adults, and we have a zipline course for kids. With our adult course, it is 10 lines, 1 cliff rappel, and a swinging bridge, and that is for anybody ages 10 and up. And then with that children's course, we use special equipment called a continuous belay system, which means we only have 1 wire for each one of those 8 zips on that kids course. And using that equipment, we allow ages as young as 4 to go on that kids course right there. So it's one of the few places in the area that allows such young kids to zip by themselves. I like to believe it's a place for the whole family, so if we've got a young one that doesn't want to zip while the rest of them do, we get to hang out by the creek. Sometimes when the family comes up, maybe grandma doesn't want to go zip, but she'll watch the kids zip. So we kind of have something for all ages and all levels of adventure seeking. So on the back end, what are our employees and our job opportunities? We do have a few here at Sky Valley. We have the Canopy Guides, which is guides for our adult course. We have Whistle Pig Guides, which is guides for our children's course. They're called whistle pig guides because where we built that children's course, there was a family of groundhogs, which is another name for whistle pigs. So we kind of named it after them, and that became the official mascot for the kids course. We also have some opportunities for office customer service and even some yard crew work for like chopping trees and mowing the grass. And I'll go a little bit more into those when I explain what each one of those jobs kind of require. So the requirements for those jobs, every job here at Sky Valley, we do have to follow standards set up by the ACCT, which is the Association for Challenge Course Canopy Zip Tour Standards. And that is a kind of a nationwide set of rules that any zip line in the United States has to follow to be insured. So a lot of our requirements and training follows exactly the ACCT handbook. And I'll break that in a little bit more detail by each one of the jobs. So I'll start out with the canopy or the adult tour. We do require at least 18 years of age. The person, you would need to feel comfortable working at height. Our average platform is 50 feet in the air, but there will be some times, like I said, our highest line is 300 feet across that valley. So normally you got to be a little comfortable when you're in the air. We do all the training in-house. I myself am a certified ACCT trainer for ziplining, and that averages about 30 hours depending on the size of the group, and we do that at the beginning of the season, and we will CPR and first aid certify everybody along with that. So with the kids course requirements, they're pretty similar. The few differences are that the kids course, their platforms are a little lower, so you won't be at average 50 feet, you'll be at average about 25 feet in the air. With the kids course though, you have a little wider range of ages that you're interacting with. So you'll interact with a 4-year-old all the way up to, I believe we've had some people pushing their hundreds come up to watch those kids zip. So it's a little bit wider range of who you're dealing with. And I love the kids course. Like I said earlier, I went to school for health and PE, and elementary school was my bread and butter. So I always love getting out there and working with the kids when we go through for their birthday parties or things like that. See, I didn't put any of the requirements for the yard crew or office, just because there's not too much out of the ordinary with them. With the office, you'd be answering phones, making reservations, and we kind of cover that in a daily training there where we teach you what you need to say, give you all the information about the course. And with the yard crew, you stick to low machinery, so like a weed whacker or a lawnmower, and we do show you how to use all that, but we save most of the chainsawing to some other people in our tree crew out there. So I didn't really go further into that, but if anybody has any questions about more detail on the yard crew or the office and booking people, feel free to ask me at the end. Let's see, next we've got compensation and benefits. We starting pay for each one of the guides first year is $10 an hour, and they are paid for 3 hours per tour. So some tours can take up to 3 hours. Most of them average about 2 hours, but you're clocked in for the 3 just in case they do take all 3. On average, most guides will have a partner for a day, and they'll end up taking out 2 tours per day. So average day for each guide would look like 6 hours. And then one of my biggest things that I tell a lot of people getting interested in coming to Zipline, we are a very big tip business. But again, with any kind of tip business like that, it goes from tour to tour with how much. But most of the guides, especially this season, have been coming home with pretty good tips daily. Another kind of side benefit is here at Sky Valley, we do offer friends and family discounts if a guide is on the tour. And one of my favorite things that a lot of people don't mention or think about when it comes to benefits is you get to work outside for most of the time. You're not really stuck in an office too much. You get to enjoy the scenery and be out with nature. So a little further into compensation and benefits, a lot of people, including myself, I love seasonal work, and that's a benefit for me. So we usually start taking tours out about late March, usually to late November. It really depends on the weather. This year, it's been a pretty dry winter so far, so we're still taking tours out, and I know that we have some scheduled all the way up to the week before Christmas this year. With scheduling and that, we're really flexible with hours for around school and second jobs. We understand that people's full life isn't just Sky Valley, so we try to do our best to work around existing schedules. I know about 90% of our employees this season were full-time students at Appalachian State. So we did work around a lot of the classes and especially changing it up multiple times with when the COVID hit, whether they were in class or not. So we had to do a lot of dancing around, but it seemed to work out. We do offer full-time and part-time positions, so that kind of goes on with working around schools. So we'll try to get you out here as much as you can get out here to get that extra cash. And one of the biggest things is get us seeing the seasons firsthand. A lot of people don't really quite get the difference between one day to the next when they're just driving past the trees. But when you're zipping 300 feet in the air over the trees, you can tell the subtle differences in each day of fall. And when it gets to winter, winter is some of my favorite season just from the views out here when you're above all those trees. Let's see. And that is, I know I talk fast, and it was a pretty good bit to cover, so I apologize for that. But if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, or quagmires, I'll be more than happy to help with anything.
Hey, John Luke.
Hey.
So just to confirm that students don't have to come with any of those CPR or this or that, that's all covered when they apply and get the job, correct?
Yes, sir. We far and few in between, just because ziplining's not, it's getting bigger as an industry, but not the biggest. So a majority of the people that come, especially freshmen at college, have no prior experience with ziplining or anything like that. So we do training from the start to you completely certified to take everybody out.
Now, are they getting paid while they're doing that training, or is it, how does it work for that?
Training is a lump sum payment. You get paid at the end after you complete the 30 hours of training. And this season, with the new requirements, I believe the lump sum was $250 after training. We do that just because every once in a while we will have someone that's super psyched to come out there. But when they get up on that 300-foot zip after day one training, they realize this is not for them. So it is when you finish, you kind of get that lump sum when you're certified for the guide.
Sounds good. All right. We have a few questions. I'm going to turn off my camera. So we had a few folks saying great job, and I have a question that says, how does one apply, and what's your preferred procedure for that?
We have, I would need to double check, technology is not my strong suit. I'm all about the zip lines and doing all this other stuff, but I would have to double check that it's still working. But we should have a link on our website that is a link to a Google Docs that we use for new people sending in resumes, or a straight email to my email, which I'll put up in the chat box right here. If you send a resume and a few references, I usually get on it in the next day or two, and then we'll put you in a file. So preferably both, an email to my email and to that Google Docs online. We do kind of slow down hiring here during the winter season, just because, like I said, seasonal work, we are open this season, this winter, just because how dry it's been. But normally, like I said, we start hiring around the outdoor job fair and a little bit before March and such.
Okay. Before we continue with further questions, I just want to remind you that we have a survey for today's presentation. So if you don't mind filling that out before you leave, and please stay on the call because we're going to have a few more questions, I hope. Any of the participants, you can put your questions on the chat box, or you can turn on your microphone and ask the question. John Luke, you said 6 years, correct? You've been
Yes,
there
sir.
6 years. Okay, great. So it seems like you have a good experience, and I love that you have connection with, with the Appalachian State University. and that you are staying here, and that there are jobs for people like yourself who are graduating from the university. So that's great. I appreciate
Oh
that.
yeah, and the next couple years, I didn't want to really push this in the presentation, but we are breaking ground on our mountain biking course
Nice.
as soon as we shut down this winter. So nothing next year, just because it is just a few of us kind of doing this all by hand. But in the near future, we will hopefully be a mountain retreat with mountain biking, axe throwing, cornhole, fishing, hiking trails, and ATV rides. At the moment, we are just a zipline place, but we have taken small steps that we're finally got the path laid out. We're breaking ground on the mountain biking trail this winter,
Great.
so should have more opportunities each year.
Yes, it sounds like it. So it will go beyond just that guide. It would be customer service, checking in, checking out, and all that kind of stuff, scheduling. Great, great.
Yes, sir.
All right, any participants have any questions? If I was in school right now, I'll definitely would be applying for this. So this is awesome. Yeah, I love outdoors. I love Boone. So, all right. So if we don't have any questions, let's see. How many people do you employ?
This season, we have had a lower number of employees just with COVID and us having to cut down the number of tours and changing everything. We normally average about 20, and that is 16 on the zip tours, kids and adults, and then 4 kind of office and yard crew. But this season, we dropped down to 15 just because of the lower numbers.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other final questions?
And feel free to email me if anybody thinks of something afterwards. I do believe I popped it in there, but I'm wide open, and I always love answering questions about ziplining. It's one thing you can probably just tell me to stop talking about eventually.
No, we appreciate your passion. It definitely helps to convince folks that this is a good opportunity for them. We have one that says, can you describe the ideal employee's background, makeup, attitude, and so forth?
That's other than attitude. Attitude, just a positive and kind of happy attitude. Background, makeup, and everything. A wide range. We have fraternity folks. We have folks that looks like they lived out in the van over there. If you're going to have some people you can match with, we've got one of our favorite guides didn't actually go to App, grew up in the city, lived in the city their whole life, decided they wanted some mountain, and they really bond well with the people from Raleigh. And then we got some people that are mountain boys through and through, and they bond with some of the people that come up here. So as long as you can talk with people about something, background, makeup, not too much, but a positive attitude is, I want to say every employer says that, but one of my best things that I've heard is on our exit survey we send our employees is it's a nice, fun, family kind of attitude here. As I hope that explained it well. It's a little hard to put into words.
Well, it sounds like you are one of those employers that are accepting, like you said, with the minimum requirement of that positive attitude and communication, and working as a team. So that's great. All right. Any other questions, comments? And make sure that you fill out the survey. Sarah has posted that on the chat box, so make sure that you answer that so we can get some feedback. And also you can suggest some other future presentations, some future employers that you would like to see presented in this series. John Luke, I think that is it from our participants. We want to thank you so much for your time. I know that you're busy, and we appreciate your passion, the information, and I hope that you'll see an increase in applications. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and anytime that you have jobs available and you want to, let's say, present directly that to our students, we have Career Connections, Sarah, who you have communicated with. Feel free to advertise with us, and we will put that out for the students, okay?
Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
No problem at all.